Hey, tonight I went to the first meeting of the year held by the Seattle Insight Meditation Institute, and a number of people have asked me about it, so I thought I'd make a video. I wrote down a couple of things that I thought were interesting and worth reflecting on. First of all, Rodney Smith is the residential teacher for Sims, and really down to earth, really funny, so I laughed a lot, but he also gave me a lot to think about. So let me go through my notes here. He talked about how we associate other people with a feeling that we get, and then we think that they have the same feeling as well. He talked about how easy it is that we associate the external world with the feelings. And then after some time, he said, you just can't come to that resolution by listening to me. You have to investigate that for yourself. And that's something that I've always appreciated about the Buddhist teachers that I've listened to, and as well as the yoga teachers that I've studied under. No one said, this is the way it is. It was just always, hey, this is what the text says, or this is what I say, but you have to figure it out for yourself if that's really true. And I talked about pain and violence, and he said we create the pain that we feel in us. The violence is sometimes created from internal pain, and until and unless we own our sufferings and work with it, we will continue to rage at the world. I said that fundamentalists in all religions, even Buddhism, are riddled with doubt. And the rage of the world is from our own viciousness. Then he talked about ethical integrity, which was in line with the fact that we're taking the precepts tonight. And he said, as we become more conscious and accepting of this process, life moves from isolation to integration. And it's a recovery of the self, not a condemnation of the self. He said, well, we use the precepts not to judge, not for judgmental purposes, not to go, oh, I'm so bad, or whatever the criticism is that we put on ourselves. And this is something that I really like. He said, our ethical behavior will be as strong as our intention to explore our pain. And he said, you don't have to try to be good. You only have to be fed up with the pain that you're in. And the precepts aren't absolutes. It's not thou shalt not. It's more like you will refrain from doing these things. He talked about a pause, and I like this a lot. He said the pause is such an underutilized thing that we don't take a pause from the habitual patterns or the conditioning that we've been under, or that we've taken on as our identity, and we just keep going. So I thought that was fitting for the pace of life in our culture sometimes. And I like this one a lot because if anyone's ever tried to meditate knows how hard it is to sit and stop the yapping, the chatter inside our brain. And he said, as resistant to all of these things that he'd been talking about previously, as all of that fades, so does the internal talking. And he talked about vulnerability. He said you can't come to compassion without vulnerability, because we're not willing to be vulnerable, that we become rude. He talked about the difference between ethical conduct and under samadhi and under wisdom. This is something that I think I'm going to have to investigate some more, maybe even talk to Rodney some more, what he means by samadhi, because samadhi has several meanings and different connotations for different traditions. But samadhi in Rodney's mind tonight, he said ethical conduct under samadhi is self-driven. It takes self-will and determination and ambition, and the morality of that is surrounded by the self. Ethical conduct under wisdom is seeing the nature of things and the nature of self, and things just gradually unfold. So you don't need to be as perhaps driven with force as much as ethical conduct under samadhi. Just keep in mind that a lot of these things, he said, and I wrote it down, but there wasn't a dialogue, so my understanding may not be what he had in mind, so just take it for what it is. Talked about Sila, it means bedrock, and talked about Parami a little bit, but not a whole lot. And he talked about faith. He said it's the application of integrity. As we move out of the projected reality, we move out of the container, which is ourselves, and we move to the contained, so that the world doesn't revolve around us. There's more. And some other things that I didn't get to catch, so my notes are, I didn't get to write down everything that I thought was really good. We have some homework from the talk. Again, his topic is A Blameless Life, and he opened by saying, it doesn't mean that no one will ever blame us. Doesn't matter what you do, what your intention is, someone somewhere will always blame you for something. So he asks, so if you didn't go to the talk, you can still do this homework, I think, and if you are inspired by this homework, and if you want to learn more, next week's Dharma talk on Tuesday will address this particular homework. So he said, depending upon how you use them, the precepts can either aid or inhibit your spiritual growth. Do they foster a greater sense of wise view and connectedness, or add to your unworthiness and guilt? Do they encourage a new way of viewing the world, or hold you fast to your old self-image? Do the precepts lighten your sense of paranoia and general heaviness of mind, or leave you feeling more shameful? Pick an unskillful behavior that you have lived with for a long time, such as being manipulative or sneaky. Determine that you will not act on that habit. Abstain and let go from engaging in any thoughts that foster that behavior. Watch the urge to act from these old habit patterns continue. Take refuge to strengthen your resolve. See them for what they are, past tendencies imposing on the here and now. Get a sense of how the past continually explodes into the present, and how your emotions of guilt or shame follow in the wake of this urge. Though they attempt to convince you otherwise, these feelings have nothing to do with who you are in this moment. So, and then after that we took the refuges and the precepts. We also took the protection cord. It's the first time doing that for me. I got mine right here. So there it is. Hope you guys have a good New Year.